I think this is exactly 5 o'clock, so I think we can start, right? All right, so it has been a long day, right? It's 5 p.m. So I would like to start with a simple questions. How many of you are developers? Raise hands. Okay. How many of you have worked on blockchain? Few. So I think it is a 50-50% mix between engineers and non-engineers. And just a few of us have been working on blockchain. So I think that this might be a pretty interesting topic for all of us today. Hi, everyone. My name is Yoonjung Chung. I'm a senior product manager at Cisco blockchain team. I'm here to present an interesting topic. What is enterprise blockchain and how we can use blockchain into our real use cases. All right. I think if you see the diagram, you may already familiar with some of the threats and challenges in your businesses, right? Sounds pretty familiar. So in these days, business get more complex worldwide. Now the risk is getting higher too. Some of the evident risk, I believe that these can be addressed by blockchain. Look at the green circle. 0.5 trillion US dollar is just spent for the counterfeited products sold worldwide. And 20% of the enterprises in supply chain, they got impacted. Another 20% or 21% of the company has experienced some of the compliance breach, and $16.8 billion US dollar has been costed just to protect the identity fraud. So it is a pretty big problem. As I mentioned, Cisco is building its own platform and solutions for blockchain. And I think that most of you maybe didn't really aware of that. Our goal is to make our own blockchain platform and solution, which is simple, secure, and scalable. I would like to take a little bit more holistic view what Cisco blockchain going to offer for your businesses. This is the actual UI of our Cisco blockchain developer portal, where you can create users, manage users, you can deploy smart contract, and also view the activities. On top of the developer admin portals, we want to provide you end-to-end solutions and connectors. We believe that platform itself is not enough, but it should have a wide set of connectors for you to make your applications easy way. So if you start with the developer tools box, we're going to provide you the SDKs, APIs, provide on-premise and also cloud solutions. Last Q4, we actually announced with AWS Cisco blockchain partnership. As I mentioned, we also want to have solutions and connectors that simplifies your data ingestions, scheduling, and other features. So it's coming up. So we will announce something big later this year around June, July timeframe. But I just wanted to give you a heads up. As I mentioned, we all know that technology itself is interesting, but where I can use this technology is more interesting, right? I have identified 7 different verticals and pillars: supply chain, logistics, payments, compliance, IoT, energy, and hospital. I made the blue boxes around 4 verticals because we already have working demo apps, and I would love to demo 3 out of 4 demo apps today. Supply chain use case. Supply chain is one of the prominent use case for blockchain. Basically, blockchain can help businesses to track and trace components or finished goods across multiple blockchain supplier partnership. So from supplier to end customers, there are supplier, manufacturer, logistics, and distributor and retailer. But it's very hard to find who the source of the counterfeited items or problematic suppliers. So we use blockchain to identify the chain of the custody. And when a problem happens, we can quickly double check in blockchain where the problem located. I actually brought very interesting product here. These are optical modules. And Cisco is known for big supply chain participants. It is number 10 worldwide because we make a lot of servers, switches, routers. We do have multiple big suppliers. And these are the top 5 most frequently counterfeited items, and which makes a lot of problem in Cisco supply chain, also brand protection team. Some are $1,000, some are a few $1,000s. So we internally made a working application. This is not demo, but this application called Footprint is used by Cisco supply chain team today, right now. I will demo it later, but basically we created a mobile application that fully synchronized with the web app too. Whenever the barcode of this optical module scanned, the request gonna transmit it to blockchain. Blockchain gonna quickly check whether the label, product ID, product information really exists or not. And then it's gonna show yes, label match or label mismatch. We will go through more details when I give you a live demo later. Compliance. Nowadays, business get more and more digitized, and more smart devices. The amount of data is increasing, and thus, the surface of potential cyber risk or attacks expands, right? And it costs a lot of money. Thus, we also want to use a blockchain to basically track any compliance changes into your network. And we all want to have HIPAA compliance or GDPR compliance, right? The benefit is that because these data are not now immutably recorded in blockchain, not only it is safe and transparent, but also it is much easier for you to share the compliance history or audit trail with external parties like auditors and regulators. I actually did some customer interviews, and it takes a while for you to dig in some of the compliance changes in each of your network servers and other devices. It's gonna save a lot of money for you, and it's just free of your burden. So this is also a screen capture of a trusted compliance application demo we created, and I will show you the actual UI later in this presentation. The third use case that I want to focus is IoT. So basically, IoT is another very prominent area that blockchain can be used, because IoT devices basically create a lot of data, and these data are transmitted to blockchain. However, the more interesting part is the connected factory for IoT devices. Think about it. When we just give example of IoT devices, we may start with a Fitbit or some smart devices, or even like autonomous cars, but the limit doesn't exist. It can be really secure product like military products, right? So if you actually need to and work with those very secure products, you also want to start the IoT and the blockchain, track and trace who has access to these IoT devices and who actually enabled the IoT devices from the connected manufacturing step. We also built a working demo app using IoT device, which is a Cisco IR 829 gateway. So you probably are pretty familiar with what this gateway does, but basically in a hospital or in a medicine or a pharmaceutical area, there's a vaccines, for example, and the temperature management is super critical. Otherwise, the vaccine going to be contaminated, right? So these IoT devices, which measure the temperature of the vaccine or vaccine container, will transmit the data to this switching router, which is a Cisco IR 829. They're gonna send the data to cloud to blockchain, and whenever the participants want to check whether this vaccine is contaminated or not, they can quickly verify the data because it is immutable, transparent, accessible by the right attendees. Sorry for technical issues right now. So. Thank you. So let me continue the presentation. So with this device, we also created a demo app that actually validates whether the temperature measured by the IoT device sent to blockchain is valid or tempered. So basically, there's IoT devices sent to blockchain, but think about there's a hacker. He or she knows the hash ID of this specific transaction, which is the sent data, right? And then with a hash ID, he or she may want to manipulate the temperature. For example, it was like -3 degrees, which it shouldn't be, but I can maybe temper the data and send a new message say that at this time, actually, the temperature was 10 degrees, which is fine. This device, which is a data integrity alert, gonna verify whether the temperature sent to the blockchain is correct or not. Energy is the last use case I want to present today. So renewable energy is getting bigger and bigger. So solar, wind, and other types of renewable energy is available. So this is a very futuristic diagram that you really want to focus on. So I just mentioned with the temperature management, temperature monitor sensor is using IR 829 Cisco switch router, right? This diagram actually assumes that Cisco IR 829 will have blockchain SDK so that there is no back and forth communication needed, but this IR 829 can actually sign the transaction and directly talk to our Cisco platform so that you don't have to build a complicated system and network to just use the blockchain. So the wind farm generates the electricity. Solar farm also does that. IoT sensor gonna measure that and send the data to this Cisco IR 829, and the local Cisco node gonna capture that information and save that. And this is also a demo app we created for the POC. So before we move on to actual demos, I would like to make sure that you get what is coming up next. As I mentioned that Cisco is building our platform and solutions and connectors enablers. Not only that, we all want to get your feedback how we can actually better serve your business needs. We want to have really secure, scalable, and easy to use deployment available platform. And the end state we try to achieve is that internet scale system of trust that is backed by blockchain. So I'm gonna end my presentation here, and then I can move on to the demo. But before we do so, do you have any question? Okay. Then I think we can have a Q&A after the demos. Okay, first of all, the one that I'm gonna show you is the DNA Center plus blockchain, the Trusted Compliance Manager. So how the backend works is that the network devices, whenever there's a compliance changes on their policies, for example, they're gonna send the changes to blockchain. And the blockchain, which has the HIPAA and GDPR, all the critical methods, it will tell the compliance whether the network devices still remain as a compliance or not. So this is the timestamp when the change happened, and then host name, and who the user to make the change into the network device, IP address, and then event detail, such as you can basically have whether certain change has been enabled or show running config. So whatever the config change, the detail going to be captured here. And then this is the actual blockchain transaction ID stored in the blocks. The next one I'm going to present is the data integrity alert. So as I mentioned, whenever the temperature changes in room or vaccines or in hospital, in whichever temperature sensitive places, this dashboard is going to show all the temperature changes captured by the sensors and also the blockchain. You will see the gray ones and red ones. So basically the gray ones are the temperature that are captured by the IoT devices and which are genuine and validated data. So for example, this is an MQTT broker. So I can basically type in the room temperature was 10 degrees and publish. And if I go back to the demo app and refresh, it should show temperature 10 degrees. So I'm just showing you that if everything works fine, and if the device talks to MQTT broker and MQTT broker send the data that the temperature measure was 10 degrees, and if it is valid, it should be marked as a gray row, and all the data is captured, date, time, and device ID, and things like that. The red ones basically not validated ones. The last actual demo that I'm going to show is that Cisco's Footprint, which is a supply chain application. So there are multiple ways you can actually scan a barcode. So either you can upload the image, or you can type in manually a single barcode, or you can download the CSV file and upload it. Or you can use the mobile phone and then just scan it. This is a scan activity list page where you can see all the scan activities. We have several different types of scan status. Label match is basically all the genealogy events are validated and genuine. So it captures from the label manufacturer, which in this case is Wordmark, and this Wordmark actually shipped the genuine barcodes to Finisar, which is OEM based in Malaysia. And then this Finisar also attached the product to the actual product, label to actual product, and shipped to Jebel in Penang. And then Jebel then send the actual product to the superstore, and so forth. So it can basically show the genealogy events from the label manufacturer to the end customer. And other use case, for example, label not found. I will click this one. So this is a really good example of a potential counterfeited item. So when I scan this, it captures the superstore, which is a Jebel in Malaysia. However, it doesn't show label manufacturer or OEM information. Highly likely, someone makes a counterfeited items, put a fake label, but still ship to this superstore. Superstore doesn't know that until they actually get this blockchain technology. Maybe superstore gonna send it over to retailer to Cisco. Now the Cisco has a tool, Footprint, to detect easily who and where the counterfeited items come from. So this is the end of my presentation. So we just went through what is the Cisco's enterprise level blockchain is, what are the 7 main key pillars we identified. Out of that, we focused on the 4 use cases, and I just demoed the 3 working apps. So thank you for your participation and attendance. I'm happy to answer whichever questions you might have. Thanks. Yes?
I think you showed DNA Center as an interface for your blockchain
Yes.
capabilities. Is that the primary interface for your, if you're the enterprise IoT manager, what would be the primary interface to the blockchain product per se or service? Would it be DNA Center, or what are we going to use to look at the blockchain?
That's a good question. So let me repeat the question. So the question was, is the DNA Center is the main network security monitorization or orchestration tool, or is it something that we can enable blockchain with other network monitoring tool? The answer is the latter. So basically, it doesn't have to be DNA Center, but I brought DNA Center use case because it is one of the family like Cisco product. If you already use Ken9K and other switch routers that provided you a good network security, you can basically leverage the other product to simply create your own network security end-to-end flow. Yes?
Yeah. Hi, since you're product manager, let me ask you about the business model question. So I know it is going to be sold as a product, right?
Yes.
I assume. It's also possible sold as like a blockchain as a service, kind of in the cloud that, like in this use case, right? The stores may use that, just have a mobile front end just to log in to get.
Yes. So basically the question is simply how Cisco can monetize this. Is this your question? Okay, cool. So there are different pricing models internally we are reviewing. And as I mentioned, that later this year, once we announce the full launch of this platform and solution connectors market, we will have more details, right? However, basically, we want to build more prominent market for this blockchain applications. And we know that different models may work for different types of businesses, right? Some of the ideas we have is that basically the size of the business or size of the blockchain can be differentiated and might have some different pricing sheet, but that is just one idea. So more information will be found in June to July timeframe. All right, thank you.